When creating videos, I think it's important to note that everything is a stylistic choice. What you choose to film on, what you choose your background to look like, and how you edit the video all comes down to personality and how you want everything to be perceived and done. For example, you can sit down and you can have a more scripted, more polished, professional looking video on a higher quality camera. Or you can create something more casual and more realistic feeling by making something on your phone and having everyday movements and moments of life reflected in your video. It all comes down to what you want, and honestly, some of the most interesting videos have a mix or a culmination of the two. It's a good way to hold audience retention and keep them guessing as to what's going to come next. And ultimately, if you want higher views and a higher view duration on your videos, you're going to want to hold your audience's attention, especially if you are planning on making a career out of this. Creating a video always starts with an idea. Sometimes you have a more developed version of how you want to pursue going about this, and other times you have just the notion that you want to create something but you don't know what that is. The ugly reality of starting anything new is you don't know what you're doing and you have very little experience, and it's just learning to be okay with that and still continuing to push through and continue to work it until you learn and can create the things that you want to make in your head. So I want to teach you guys how to edit in the most basic, simplistic format, just so you can get started. And I think you'll learn that if you have an open mind, that you can actually create some really cool pieces of work that you can be proud of with a limited video editing skill set. So let's get started. Okay, so now that I've filmed everything, I will take all the media, so all of the videos, photos, and any other like clippings that I want to use to produce the video. I will put them all onto a singular file onto my desktop and then just transport and open that up into iMovie. That's honestly the easiest way to go about everything. So I'm gonna go to File, New Folder, and since today I'm in the middle of creating 2 new videos, I'm gonna do 2 different files. So one will be the holiday get ready with me, and then the other one will be the video you're watching now, which is our iMovie tutorial. And then we're gonna go to create new movie, and then you just import media, find our folder, we click it, we hit import selected, and here are all of our clips. So then what I like to do now is to go ahead and save the project. I'll hit the project button up at the top. It'll bring up my movie where you can name it. It's gonna do get ready with me and hit OK. And then there it is sitting at the top right there. So we can always come back to it whenever we're ready to start editing. So looking at all of these clips, I know right off the bat I want to have this be the introduction, so I'm gonna pull that down there, and I know that I want to end the video with this. As you can see, when it's in the yellow like this, it is highlighted. So I'm gonna hit Command B, hit delete because I don't want that portion of the clip anymore, hit play, and that's how I want the video to end. So to delete again, just highlight it and click delete. And then I'm also gonna scroll over to this part, and I'm gonna grab this right here and have the ending be that. And as you can see, it's moving forward. I don't want it to do that. So we're gonna go up here to this crop section that's highlighted. It's doing the Ken Burns effect, and I don't wanna do that, so I'm just gonna hit fit, and now it no longer will move. And for YouTube video outros, they're 5 seconds if you want to add a playlist or your channel or whatever at the end cap to keep viewers on the platform, which will ultimately help the success of your channel. So I leave that for 5 seconds, and I know I want it to end like this. And then for this, same thing, I'm just gonna scrub through, find where I think I want it to start like that. Hit Command B, and then I'm just gonna play it from here forward. See what I think about that. So already I know I want to delete the first bit. And then hit Command B, cut right there. And then I kind of like this portion where I've got the lipstick bullet and I'm fixing it. So let's see what that looks like. I like the sound of that. Okay, and then I'm gonna Command B and cut right there. So then we have cool. I feel like it's easier to talk and explain everything first and then go through and show the how-to example of what to do for everything. So when I'm editing, for the most part, I, will start it off by putting all of the clips into iMovie and pulling it up and having everything right in front of me. Visually, that's the easiest thing to do. And then I will kind of like scrub through the clips by the like quick preview up at the top instead of placing them down into the actual editing portion. And I'll just kind of scrub through, and for the most part, I typically have somewhat of an idea of the order I want the video to be in. And then sometimes I don't, so I just kind of like play around, and I'll just start with one clip down and trim it and do a really rough cut of just like watching it through. It's especially easier to start with something that is tutorial based or something that has like a very clear sequencing, just so you can learn the basics of editing. And then once you have the rough cut of it, going through and adding in little sprinkles of detail and personality to make the video more interesting, if that makes any sense. This is one of the weird and rare instances where I know how I want the video to start and how I want it to end. So I already have those clips down, and then I'm gonna slowly start adding the middle portions of the video in. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna place everything through, and I'm gonna do the roughest of rough cuts just so that I can get an idea of how everything will play out. Again, this is like the easiest part. You're just gonna lay your clips out and you're gonna trim the unnecessary fat off. So you're just gonna Command B your way through this entire thing. As you start to go through and edit, you'll realize at what points are just clear mistakes that need to be gotten rid of, where there are unnecessary pauses or just things that ultimately are really boring. You'll just trim that fat away. And the more you do it and the more time you spend editing your video, you're gonna realize what needs to be gotten rid of. So I don't think it's something that needs to be stressed. And again, like I mentioned earlier, everything is a stylistic choice. So maybe you want the pacing of your video to be a slower paced production. Maybe you'll leave like those little stretches of the video where not a lot is happening, but you're continuing a movement from one place to another, so that you have more of a seamless one take shot almost. It really just depends on what you want. Do you want your video to be more choppy and really quick, fast-paced, or do you want the tone and setting to be more slowed down and relaxed? And I don't think you have to stick to one thing in one video. I think you can play around with it. Ultimately, I think one of the worst things you can do is stick to a formula. Whenever you are done editing, the important thing is, would you want to watch it again? Are you proud of what you made? Do you like it? Like, what do you like? What do you don't? I think the best way to do it is just to put yourself out there, put your stuff out there, because when you're first starting off, not a lot of people are going to see it, and you're not going to get judged for all of these errors. And it's a learning curve. It takes time. You just have to do it. You gotta get comfortable with it. That's all it is. I think that's what it should be. It should just be something fun. I don't think there's any need to stress or fret about it, any of it. Now I'm gonna be adding text to my video, so I figured it would be best to add a title text to really introduce what the video is in the first few seconds. So I'm going over to the titles portion. I'm gonna click on that, and then just select whatever title I want and add that to the video. It's as simple as that. Okay, so now that this is like a little bit longer of a clip, I kind of want to just do like a little scrubbing of like putting the foundation on. So like a little time-lapse moment. So I'm gonna select this, go over to speed, select fast. I have the volume turned down, so I just want to see what that looks like. And I think it's a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna splice it in the middle, delete the last clip of the two. So then we have our product shot, we have the real-time application process of it, and then we have like a sped up rendering. And then whenever I do go in with my voiceover, I can then further adjust the clips with the audio that I add on. And if you want to get like really technical with your edits and your spacings, you can take this little toggle bar right here, and if you stretch it out, it stretches your video clips out. You can then see the volume levels of your video to see, like if you were doing a talking portion, where you could trim some of the little extra spaces out to really just make your video a lot more fast-paced. But what I did to turn the volume off of this time-lapse version is I just selected, here I'll show you on this one, but then I'll fix it. You just have it hover over, and then it has the arrow, which then suggests to like adjust the volume, and then you can see it's at 100%, and I just pull the toggle down and that mutes it. As you saw, I just turned this volume off of this clip, but let's say I realized I didn't want to do it to that one. I wanted it done to this other clip over here. So then what I would do is hit Command Z on my keyboard, and that would undo the volume level that I just adjusted on this video clip right here. Another thing I just remembered, the spacebar is another way to pause and play your video. So as you're editing, you don't have to reach up for the mouse. You can just hit the spacebar and that will continue to play it or pause it. Okay, as I'm editing this, I just remembered something pretty important about the volume that I wanted to mention. So for the most part, I like to have the volume be like at the same lengths. Occasionally, like I'll get like a few clips like this where I'm moving around and I'm closer to the microphone, so it's a little bit louder. And sometimes if it's just like a quick burst of something, like it's fine, the volume doesn't bother me that much. You never want your volume to be in the yellow or the red, just because it's really irritating. Anyone with sensitive ears knows like this is not it. You want everything to be under that. So for the most part, I can typically just leave my volume on 100% and everything's fine. Okay, now I wanna get into layering of clips. So like if I play this, I just have the audio portion and then there's nothing going on here. So what I'm gonna do is take this and take actual footage of me applying the eyeshadow and put that as a layer over here so that we have the motion going on with the voice. So to do that, I'm just gonna take this one clip over here. I'm gonna drag it on top just so I can see how much of the clip I need so they're even. I'm going to drag this back to where it goes. This clip that we just matched up with it in terms of length, we're gonna apply over it. And that's all we have to do. We just have to put it on top, bring the volume levels down, and then this is what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna pour that all over the lid. And that's all you have to do to add a layered clip over it. And if you ever want a tighter frame or a closer crop, all you have to do is go to the crop toggle up at the top, select that icon, and then from there you can select either the fit to have it all in frame, or you can do crop to fill, and that's gonna let you adjust the clip and really bring forth the focus that you want on the video. It's the next day and I've just completed the rough cut edit of my video, and right now I'm gonna go ahead and film voiceovers and implement those into the video. And then once I have the voiceovers added to the video, I'm gonna go through and watch it through and see where anything needs to be cut or where I need to add other elements to the video to make it a little bit better. You can actually record voiceovers in iMovie. Sorry, I don't have anything taller to stand my camera on at the moment, so I'm kind of cut out. But you can do that, but what I personally like to do is go into the Voice Memo app on my iPhone and I'll record it that way. So I know there needs to be a voiceover at the very beginning of the video. What I'll do is I'll pull up where the start is, I'll kind of watch that and film the voiceover that way. So we're just gonna try something. I know I have like a good amount of time to work with, so I'm just gonna pull this up. I'm gonna hit the record button and go. This is my Christmas get ready with me. So then I have that. I'll line the clip up with the video portion and the voice portion so that they'll play at the rate and I can kind of see what it's like together. So this is way too long. So if that's the case and I get a little too rambly, I'll just take everything and do the voiceover as I'm watching the video. This is my Christmas get ready with me. So I'm gonna be showing you the hair, makeup, and outfit that I'm gonna be wearing on Christmas Day. So then I'm gonna go ahead and do the next recording. Okay, so then I'll airdrop those to my iMac and then lay them down and see how everything looks that way. Just added those two clips in. This is, I think, the intro. So we're gonna lay that down to the bottom and play that and see how it is. Hey everyone, this is my... And then see, this is all extra, so I'm just gonna trim this, delete that, and then because you know what I'm already doing, I'm just gonna go ahead and trim and delete this last portion of the clip, and then that's what we're gonna do. So then I'm gonna scroll on over to the hair portion of the video and do the voiceover for that, and then I'll add some background music in and then watch everything through and see what other edits need to be made. You want to make sure when you're editing the audio portion that you have just the audio selected, so it'll be the one highlighted in the yellow box whenever you're trimming, because if not, it's going to trim the clips that are above the audio portion. I want to trim this portion right here because it's pretty flat, so I'm going to click right here. We have the box that I've selected highlighted, and that's how you know you've selected this and not the two of these together. And then you're gonna trim it, delete it, and then I'm just gonna slide this clip forward, and that's how you get your like seamless trimmings in your audio. Okay, now I'm gonna go through and add some background music to the video just to give it another layer. I personally don't have a problem with the iMovie library. I think you can get some good, just like classic pieces to add to your videos in there. And so I'll just drag this in and I'll make sure that it's on the bottom layer, and I'll adjust the beginning of it, and then I like to take the volume down to, I'm gonna do probably like 10. Let's see how that sounds. So maybe we'll just trim it right here. And we'll leave this at 10, and we'll take this down to 5. Let's see how that sounds. Hey everyone, this is my Christmas. Yeah, I think 5 is the perfect volume for it to play throughout the rest of the video. So then we'll add that back in. We'll take that back down to 5. I'm just gonna keep adding this in and putting it down to level 5. I've just finished editing the video. I'm happy with the way it turned out, and quite frankly I've spent enough time on it that I don't want to look at it anymore. So I'm going to export it, click this little 3 toggle circular bit, hit share project, YouTube and Facebook, and then I like to put mine in the 1920 X1280, and then we're just gonna save it as that onto the desktop. Up at the top right hand corner, you're gonna have this circle, and that's gonna show you how long it takes the project to finish exporting. So this is gonna take 4 minutes, and then it will just appear on the desktop whenever it's done. And then whenever I'm done editing a project, I will clear off and delete all of the media off of my computer, and all of the files and clips that I want to save, I will save onto a hard drive, so that way my computer doesn't get backed up and bogged down with like all of this unnecessary memory, because that will really slow it down. I'm sure there are easier ways to save it directly onto a hard drive, but this is the way I know how to do it. It's really simple. I'm sure there's an easier way, but I frankly don't know how to do that at this moment in time. So if you do know how to do so, comment that down below, because that would be really helpful. And then from here, I'll go ahead and upload it onto YouTube.